Success is an interesting concept because everybody's measure of it is different, and sometimes the challenges that you overcome in your personal life have a much more significant impact on you as an individual than any external recognition of success. Having said that, I'd say my greatest achievement was winning the Young European of the Year award in 2018. I've not had a conventional career path by anybody's standards. I'm a self-employed artist, writer, and activist. I'd say the greatest barrier as a young woman that I've faced to doing this work has been sexism, including sexual assault by older male campaigners, sexual harassment on the streets and online, such as rape threats, but also systemic misogyny from institutions and campaigning organisations, usually run and headed by older white males from privileged backgrounds who didn't like my alternative style, my creative approach to campaigning, or a young woman speaking out. So they no platformed me, they didn't support my work in any way, they actively shut down things that I was organising, and that forced me to become more independent and more resilient. Women in leadership positions face a lot of prejudices and discriminations based on stereotypes about women being weaker and fragile and not as good decision makers or deal makers as men. There's also a lot of preconceptions about motherhood and the impact that having children will have on female leaders. But also women are held to much higher moral standards by the press and by the public than their male counterparts. I think the best way for the UK to increase female representation in politics is to challenge the toxic culture of masculinity. If you watch debates in the Houses of Parliament, you'll see that it's like boys in the Eton sixth form common room waving their willies at each other. It's so immature, it's so macho, and it's really not a welcoming, inclusive environment to females or to diverse individuals. And I'd say challenging and tackling that culture is the only effective way to include women in the conversation. I think Brexit is symptomatic of this toxic culture of masculinity in British society, but also indication of rising nationalism. It's caused a lot of division across our country, and that results in more aggression in the conversation, which is overwhelmingly directed at women. We saw Jo Cox, MP, being murdered. I think that the result of Brexit will probably result in more women feeling excluded and not wanting to engage in the political debate because of fear. Young women need to know that becoming a politician is not the only way to have an impact on society and to make their voices heard. You can work for NGOs and campaigning organisations that will achieve real change, but you can also empower yourselves through creative actions and getting involved in local community organisations that will have a real impact on society.